Now we'll move forward. So what is next? Retrieving data extension values. Okay, so look at these three functions. These are inbuilt functions into AMP script, okay, which we will be using, okay, in our day-to-day lives, and we'll be going through them one by one. Okay, one is lookup, other is lookup rows, and third is lookup row ordered form. Okay, what is the difference? Lookup gives you an exact row. Lookup gives from this postal code data extension, get me the value from city column where column postal code equals this one. That is what it is saying. So it's again, if you look into the SQL form, select star, not select city from postal code where postal code equals this. I mean, probably wrong name, so let me say. So select city from postal code D where postal code equals this number. So it'll give you exact one match. Should actually give you exact one match.
Multiple values of the same,
Yes.
code.
So correct. So that is what you would, in that case, you would utilize lookup rows. So this query is utilized to give a lookup for making it more singular in nature. If you are suspecting it, then use this one, lookup rows. They'll give you a data set or row set instead of one value. Okay, so as a best practice, try and use this more rather than this one. This is once you have more where clauses in SQL, or where you have more specificity in requirements. So where postal code equals this, or there could be another values as well. So, and ID equals that. The more you can put it, it's better it is. But you should be recommended to use this one, lookup rows. We will see one by one as and when we go through that in example form as well. Okay, so let's go through that. This lookup rows, I'll show you this. Remember I told you about the AMP script guide?
Yep.
This site, paid one. We will be doing this one. So for example, like this, simply search like this. It'll give you that relevant function with an example. So it will be very clear to you. So this function returns a value of a single column from a data extension. So let's say the data extension, this is, they have given it in a very descriptive format. So this is, for example, the data extension you're referring to. So they've given that sample data extension, and you do lookup. See, this is the lookup example. What it is giving you back? So what it is saying is, select from data extension loyalty members, select email address from loyalty members data extension where subscriber key is equal to this one, in this case 5497. So it'll give you a specific value. See, where is that? So in this case, it will give you this email address, this one. So it's very good, this site, to be honest, and I will be referring this to this site today for discussion purposes so that it's clear to you. Okay, so and once it is required, I'll get back onto the Salesforce Marketing Cloud to write the code, but for those functions at least I'll be looking into this one. So lookup. Okay, so we have got this value. Now next one is your lookup rows. So just simply type lookup rows. This function returns a set of unordered row. You might have guessed what is the third one used for, ordered one, but yes. So again, coming back directly to the example, which is much more easier to understand. This is the whole data extension, similar. That's the same data extension that we have used in the previous example. Let's go. Okay. So now to see this example, see, you cannot simply print a row set. Okay, like lookup, you can print a lookup, but if you want to print a row set, you have to actually traverse through with the help of for loop. So I'll just talk about it, but I'll just give you a glimpse of what they are doing. We will talk about if and for loop after this, but I just wanted to talk about the data extension rows that will fetch. So where is the function? Lookup rows. Okay, so this is the function, lookup rows. Select this, select region from loyalty members where, select everything, I'm sorry, my bad, select everything or asterisk from loyalty members where region column is equal to this region value. Region kya hai idhar? North, like that. So I'm pretty sure it will fetch you a set of data, more than one. Okay, so if you look into this data extension, to be honest, it will show you. So this is what it has printed. So this will be the result. If I could theoretically output that lookup rows, theoretically, you cannot do it technically, you have to have a loop, but I'm not getting the loop right now. But this will be the output if I can theoretically print out. So basically it will give me all the rows of data wherein region equals north in this case. So how many in this region are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 record will be there with me. So it's there 4, but yes. Okay, next one is lookup ordered row. Okay, so this is basically a brighter or better cousin of lookup rows, which is more ordered in format. How you do that? You mentioned descending or ascending, like that. So based on that, it gives you ordered row, more formatted data basically. So let's see the example. Again, the same data extension. Okay, this is the data extension that we are referring to. This is common across all the examples, at least on this site. So the email address, subscriber key, first name are normal ones. Now what we are doing is lookup ordered row. Okay, so this is the data extension name. Okay, this is something which is different. Rank descending, first name ascending. So basically formatting, that's it, where region is equal to this region. And what is numbers to rows to return? 0. So basically this second string over here, it basically, this function is more helpful if you want to export more than 2000 records at once. So if a data extension has more than, let's say, 100,000 records, if you don't give any string over here, basically it will output only 2000 records. But if you mention it something, then it will be more than that. Okay, and this is rank descending, first name ascending. Actually, it is making confusing. Let's choose only one, rank descending. So rank is this column, so it will be sorting on this. Rank would be in descending format. Okay, highest first row would be, let's say, this one, third, then second, and then one, descending in rank. So that is the ordered row lookup. Sorry, lookup ordered row. I'm sorry, my bad. Lookup ordered row. So basically we are saying, give me the data just like lookup rows only, is just that it is more formatted in nature. Okay, these are standard functions, guys. इसमें there is no logic into it. This is what it does. You just need to know क्या करता है, what is the syntax if it is required. Moving on, this is something part of next one, but the reason I'm covering these ones are, these are the common ones in order to actually make you understand for loops. These are the common ones to be used. So hence I'm actually introducing you in the beginning. The next one is about if. Mhm.
Pankaj, before starting the if, for the lookup ordered rows, I think if the DE had like suppose 10,000 records, and then how will the system know that I want to fetch only 4,000 or 5,000 records, as it is more than 2,000?
Yes. So there, if you see, come over here in the same example. So this is, it only covers 2000. If you want to do more than 2000, let's say 10,000 or something, you have to figure out another way of that. It'll spew only 2000 record at once, probably write more queries.
So will it be the
If
first
you have
2,000 or any random 2,000 records?
First 2000.
that depends on, so that depends on this ascending and descending, whatever you have actually put the sorting on. So for example, in this case, let's say we only want 2 records, for example, and you put it rank descending. So this and this record will be pulled, these 2 records, like that, on which you have put the filter. So basically, got it?
Yeah.
Okay, next one is if loop. So if कैसे होता है, this is how you write it. Okay, so let me go to the example directly. If let's say customer ID is this, then set the city as Bangalore. Else if अगर customer ID is greater than 123, do it for, set it as Mumbai. End if, and block is ending. That's it. So basically that's how it is done. If this expression, then do this. Else if, or else जैसे बोलते हैं normal, if this is the expression, then do this. And if you want to end that loop, end if. So that's how it is. If ka logic, this is the logic, that's it, and this is how you use it. Now it depends on your creativity and the task in your hand to actually see how it is used. A lot of times it is used in conjunction with for loop. We'll see that in the examples. But one of the very good ways is to use it as a best practice is, one of the good ways of using it is in best practice also is, if dear customer, you write in the email. Okay, and what if there is bad data, there is no data, the customer name is blank, what do? So make sure with the help of if, you check it. If the value is not blank, then use the value from data extension, else write customer, like this. So the logic would be, if in this case, if the custom, if it is not blank, let's say first name is not blank, for example, then use the first name. Else if, you can use the other way. So basically saying that use customer or a subscriber or whatever you want. So this is, you can put it to use over here as well. Okay, so this is one of the functions that we would also use it. Okay, this is nothing but IIF, if IIF. Okay, the reason being it is actually if only, but reason being putting it as if is that if is a keyword in AMP script. already used keyword, so you cannot use if anywhere else. Okay, so system will throw error. So hence IIF, what it is saying, it's the same thing that we just discussed. If first name, that is the first name, not empty, then use first name. Otherwise use member or subscriber or contact or whatever you want, like that. So this is a simple usage of what the best practice I just spoke about. You can always put this function anywhere wherein you feel the data might be bad. If you have alternatives, use this function. This could be really helpful for you. Okay, always expect the bad data and prepare accordingly, because if you are dealing with millions of records, you don't know when what record says will give you a bad name in the email. So always prepare for a bad data. Whenever there is any data that is getting attribute data that is getting selected in the email from a data extension, just prepare for the worst case scenario that it will be blank, it will be bad. Prepare for that. So that is the idea. Okay, so we did if loop. Let's do for loop now, and then we'll combine both of them and move forward in the content builder. Sorry, it will show you. So for loop, what is for? For loop says basically, logically what it says is, I want to see all the configurations or all the rows in a data extension or all the pointers. Okay, so that is what for loop does. For loop, what is the for loop? As I said, so what for loop does is basically traverses through a certain list. In our case, it could be a data extension. It's just like an Excel sheet. In Excel sheet, if you have 10 columns, if you have 10 rows in an Excel sheet, so you, with the help of for loop, you can go in each and every row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and do certain actions once you are in that row. Fetch something, overwrite something, do some actions in each row. So that is the basic form for loop, usage of for loop. So let's briefly take an example. Instead of just going in the format, let's go in the example. Okay, so what we are doing over here is, what we are doing is, in this case, first of all, as usual, we are declaring, then we are, there's a counter. As I told you, there are first 10 rows, for example, in Excel sheet, so there would be a counter of 10. It's generally dynamically obtained. Okay, over here, for the simplicity's sake, I've put it a value to it. So at the rate count equals 3, for example. So I'm assigning 3 to this variable count. Then with the help of this for loop, if you see, I'm actually traversing from 1 to 3. So at the rate I, it starts from 1 to count. Count is 3 in this case. So the loop will run from 1 to 3. 1, 2, 3. Thrice this loop will run basically. And what is the loop? These two lines. These two lines. These are the loop. So it will run thrice. Okay. So in this case, for I is equal to 1 to at the rate count, it's this value would be 3. So what I'll do is I'll remove it for simplicity. Do keep on moving, increase. Okay, basically set row. Now once I'm in the first record, right now I'm in the first record of that Excel sheet, for example. I need to do a couple of things. That is the activity I'm doing over here. Okay, so what I'm saying is, I'm just getting a row from that data set. So basically RS is row set. In this case, I haven't declared it explicitly, but for your understanding, this is a row set. That means the combination of those 10 fields. Get me the first one, first row, and assign it in this row. Okay, so there is an action which is not business wise not very relevant, but this is the example I just wanted to show you, and I wanted to make it as simple as possible. So for I is equal to 1, 2, 3. So right now I is equal to 1. It does some action, whatever the action may be, and it increases the count. Next count, that is, it becomes from 1 to 2. If it was 2, it becomes 3. So now at the rate count becomes 2. I think it should be, and then we increase this one counter. Okay, and I'm just suspecting I wrote count over here. I was presuming, should it be count or I? Tell me, should it be count over here or I? This way. So basically now the value for I has increased. Next from 1 to it becomes 2. So this loop again, it will go back over here, first line, it'll again run, do some activities, and then again change, and then it will become 3. It will run 3 to 3, that is only once after that, then again do again some activities. Now it will again check, it's 3 to 3, that's it, I'll exit this loop. Okay, so that is simplest form of for loop. Now if once we'll go back into the screen, then it will be more clear. So if for loop, these are the two loops that will be going and looking into email studio. Okay, let's go on. Okay, so now we want to see. So this was a simple, okay, let's start with if. This was a simple if loop that I had written. So what I'm doing is I'm using this data extension. Okay, I'll just open it and show you what is there. This is store ID, city, and state. These are the values in this data extension that I've been using since Friday. So kind of okay with you guys. Now what I'm doing is I'm just assigning those values to the variables, store ID, first name, last name, city, and etc. etc. Okay, agreed? Now what we are saying is simple. If you just read it for yourself and tell me, is there something that I need to explain in this? Just read it yourself. Is everybody done? Straightforward. Any confusions in this? So what I'm doing is I'm making three sets of statements over here. Okay. I'm validating an expression. In this case, let's say customer ID equals, is this equal to 345? Then do something if yes. If not, if the customer ID is greater than 123, another expression, then do something. In this case, set Mumbai to the city. Else if, third level, if customer ID is less than 123, then do something else. And if you want to end it, end if.
What will be the
Understood?
default value for customer ID 123? Or you can just set it less than equal to 123.
I mean, you can do that less than equal to. So as I said, so this example, probably the expressions are not that great. So what, let me just 123 less than or equal to 2123. Let's write this. Now is it, these are all exclusive now.
Yes. Yeah.
All three loops are exclusive now,
Yeah.
correct? So yeah, so this is about creating confusion. I just wrote it showing you the different result sets. So this is what it does. Now let's just quickly save it and run it. Okay, so in this case, if what it was 234, so if it is greater than 123, it was supposed to by. At least I'm hoping. I don't remember what it was the exact logic, but yeah, I think it was Mumbai. Now, if it is bang 345 greater than, again it's Mumbai. Is there anything less than that? No, nothing in the data extension to show you a different value. If it is 123, it was supposed to be Bangalore. Understood? I'll just quickly go back to double check. So if it was 120, remember if it was 123, it was supposed to print over here with the help of this inline statement, city, Bangalore. If it was greater than that, which was most of the case, it was printing Mumbai. There was no instance where it was less than 123, hence Lucknow was not getting printed. Understood? So this is simple if loop at its simplest. It's very simple. Let me go on to for loop now, which will use if loop as well in this example, if not in this example later on, but this is the simplest if loop which runs. So, okay, is everybody clear what we are planning to do over here? First name, last name, I'll remove. This is some extra data. Store ID, customer ID, city. I think that should be okay. Just let me check because I need to see because the kind of questions I'm getting, one thing I wanted to make it clear. Yeah, it's working. So tell me one thing over here, everyone. You're understanding how we are getting these values, everyone, store ID, city, how we are getting it, these values.
We are getting it from the DE.
Correct. So for, because I have got this question in the past as well. So whenever I'm displaying an example over here, okay, so the values to which I'm previewing it, in this case, let's say this is one of the records of a data extension. So the store ID would be 123. Bangalore would be the city, and state, if required, would be Karnataka, KAR. So what I'm trying to say is these are the values that will be passed on to that code, this code, this code. So these are the values. So store ID will have 123, for example. In the first case, city would be, I think Bangalore was it, like this. So these are the values that are getting passed from a data extension against which you are sending the email. And the enterprise mindset, enterprise use case, whenever you are sending an email, okay, what also is required is you need to make sure that whatever data you are getting, you're utilizing it in a way so you're not taking all the data. Okay,
Okay.
so that is the reason I asked this question, because a couple of queries were there. So every time if I'm using it in my example, it directly comes from the data extension. And if you send it in a journey builder, for example, you are using journey builder, this email is being sent in a journey builder. So that is how the use case is. This email will be used in a journey builder. Nobody will singly email this to 10,000 people. At least I hope you're not doing it. Are you guys, as a client request?
No, we are not.
Yeah, hope so. So yeah, so nobody will be creating emails from this email content and sending it across. That doesn't happen. What happens is basically, first of all, mostly you use journey builders. If not, you go to the next level automation. You create an email activity and send it across. So that is where it will be utilized. So nobody is using it over here. So it's very important to understand understand that these values will be coming from whatever data extension to which it will be sending emails to. So I'm just giving you an example to show you right away how the results would be. But this is not it will happen. This is not how it will happen in the real life example. Real life never it will happen like that. Okay. So this is just for your understanding. I make a change, I show it to you, so it's fast and accurate, and you can understand it. Otherwise, don't understand that it will happen in the real way, real scenario. It never happens like that. Okay. What else? Let's jump on to for loop. I'm not sure if I've got that email. Let me just do that for you again, because I cannot find that for loop wala email content. I thought I had it, but if it is not the case, then it's not the case. Okay, we have got something. Okay, so if you see on the left hand side in that editor, these are some of the examples of lookup rows that I have done. Okay, so within that, hidden that only, we are actually going to cover for loop. How it's going to happen? So lookup we saw, it'll give you a value in a data extension. Okay, for which we have a where clause. Subscriber key equals to, let's say, value called subscriber key. It'll give you the value of email address. So that is lookup, single attribute response. Lookup rows. So now if you see a full-fledged example, can I make it F11? Probably a bit better now. Okay, so let's quickly go over here. This is the simple function that we are going to discuss as a part of your for loop. Okay, so what it is doing in the beginning is, I mean, it is doing a lot of things, to be honest, over here, but I'm not just going through them over here. I mean, obviously it is extracting lookup rows, keeping them in order, but what I wanted to cover was for loop. So right now what we are doing is we are checking if row count is greater than 0. At least we are extracting some data, then only do some operations. Otherwise, what's the use of doing operations if you are not extracting any number of row sets? Okay, so now see from here, from I at the rate I equals 1. So right now we are assigning a value 1. This is a for loop. Now we are assigning a value to it as 1 count. Row count, so of course we have extracted it earlier by the function called row count. So if you see row count, the number of rows that we have got, this data set, we just count the number. So the function is row count. You simply store it in row count. So let's say in our previous example Excel sheet, 10 rows were there. So here this loop will run from 1 to 10 times. Okay, now every time it runs, there are certain set of activities that they are doing. That is what it is. That's it. So that's what for loop helps you to do. So let's have a look. Right now it's declaring these three. Next one is it's extracting one row out of that row at the rate I. What it is doing is at the rate rows. This is 10, for example, 10 rows. Give me I. I as in this case is 1, first row. So basically this has the first row now. Okay. So now with that first row, we are using the field value. So first row, give me the value for first name column. So in the row number 1, whatever the value is for first name attribute, give me that value and store it in this. Similarly, it's done for email address. Go into the first row, go to the column called email address in that row, give me the value against it, one row, and store it in email address. And then we of course we are printing it. So that is another thing. Now next at the rate I. See I till now was 1. Now we do next part of it. I becomes next is 2. I equals 2 now over here. Everything remains the same apart from the fact that it becomes 2 over here. So give me row number 2 over here, and in that row fetch the value for first name and give it to me. Fetch the value of email address and give it to me, and print it. Again I equals 3 next time. So give me row number 3 in this case. Do the same set of activities for email addresses and first name and assign it to these variables and print it. Understood? Is it getting complex or is it okay?
So it will run till 10, right?
Correct. Whatever the count is. In this case, let's say our example, it was 10. So yes, 1 to 10, 10 times. So that is the use of for loop. It helps you traversing in a data set, and you can do as many activities as you want. In this case, we are just assigning it. That's it. Taking value values and assigning it to these variables and just displaying it. Let's go and run this now. You want to see that?
Yep.
Okay, understood, na? At least logically you can understand what this code is talking about logically.
Yeah.
And syntactically, to be honest, you have to do it. Okay, so let's me point it to a data extension. I hope the syntax is okay. Okay, let's try and run this. Hopefully it works fine. If I made some changes. Okay, so see, first of all, I'm actually making it point to a wrong data extension over here. This is not the right data extension to which it should be pointing to. So basically, since in previous examples, the data extension that I was using was different, by default, it takes the same data extension to test. Right now, this is not the right one. But what it is saying, no rows found. That is nothing but because of that if loop, if else. Otherwise, it would have been blank. So as a practice, you have to be very user friendly in sending the messages and displaying the messages. So what I'm trying to say is, if I just simply go and point it to the correct data extension, which is in my case loyalty members. Where is my data extension set? Okay, here, loyalty members. So this has got all the values that it requires to run. So let me select first. Okay, so 2 rows. Okay, these are the 2 values that is attracted and printed it. Let me go back to the email now. Region equals to north. So you understood why it's only displaying 2 rows, even though my data extension, where is my data extension? Yes, nahi, idhar nahi hai. Data extension contains more than that records. I'll show you the data extension. This is the data extension. This is the data extension. So it's showing these 2 records only in that for loop. Why? Because there is a where clause kind of thing, wherein region equals north. So that way it's only getting 2. That is the reason, nothing else. Otherwise, if there is no, well, you can have all the lines. So region north, this is the first row extracting. So I wanted name, if you remember, an email address to be printed. Name, email address. So if you see, I just want to double check Susie and Susie over here for north. Let me see, where is, okay. For north, Susie, and this is the email address. And then it was Doug, and his email address. So those are the 2 rows and the data that is being printed. These are the 2 rows. So that is the beautifulness of a for loop. That's what is a live example of for loop. Okay, and primarily it is used for this purposes, to go through a row set and do some activities on that. In this case, I'm just doing plain simple samjhao wali activity, that is just to display that so that you understand, but it is not used for this. It is used to do some activities like storing a value in a data extension or something of that sort, or extracting it from that. So email address, and then based on that email address, do something on it like that. So that was for, in this case, for loop. Understood for loop? So
Yep.
Chani, you're talking about doing some plus plus wala activity.
Yeah,
So, okay. What do you want to do at this stage? You want to say something?
yeah,
Plus
I
one, I
want
plus.
the at I is equal to at I plus 1.
So basically you're saying, so I was just thinking if we
At I
can
equal
simply write
to
it
I
over.
mean.
Sorry?
Wouldn't we have to write at I is equal to because we are setting the value? No?
It should be, we are setting it over here as well, no? See on top.
Yeah, yeah, got it. Yeah.
So let me try that. So at the rate I, I plus one, correct? But
Yes.
actually this next will do the same activity here.
Next,
So it
you
might,
have to delete. Yeah.
but then it will be a syntax wala issue then. Let's do that right away. Okay? But syntax error marna chahiye usko, but let's try it out. So the error is, so पढ़ने में थोड़ा time लगता है. Always start from here. The first wala part is very bakwas, and it repeats it. HTML version and text version. So generally it's only one, but then you start from here. So that is the problem. But I was trying to see अगर और कोई तरीका है कि उसको पहले ही actually see तरीके हैं. To be honest, ऐसा नहीं कि you cannot do that. It's just how much creative you can be. So what I was thinking before actually working on this was कि when you said that, so किधर गया? So what I was thinking was, if we can logically, so next anyways will increment it. So what you can do is, I was thinking of doing it, if you want to do it in loop of 2, so it'll do 1. So you already do I plus 1, do I plus 1 plus 1. So every twice record it will do something like that. Every alternate record that can be achieved with this. So that is the requirement.
Because
Kind of
next
that.
is always plus one, na?
Correct. So I don't know it's a silly one or what, but हाँ ये एक चीज कर सकते हैं. Okay, we'll move on. What is the next one? Next is a set of operations that is done on data extensions. Okay, so these are basic 4 set of data operations that you do on data extensions directly. Okay, insert, update, upsert, delete. These are very developer specific. When you say CRUD, create, read, access, delete, that kind of thing. So that is what it does in data extensions. So now if you want to do, let's say, a data extension update, a for loop would be a good place. Okay, for within for loop, if the loop is running for the first time, you have extracted one row, you update the data extension with something of that logic. That is another use case that you can do. So you are in loop number 1, it has extracted a row, and from a row it has done something. Now you want to insert that value in that data extension, in some data extension, that value. You can use update, insert, these functions, out of the box functions for updating the data extensions. Okay, and remember, I cannot show you the results of it. I need to send an email in order to show that, because you cannot preview it. I need to send the email, then the changes will get reflected when it's at the runtime basically. Okay, we'll try and do it at the end. If I do get a time, we'll send an email to myself, and we'll try and one of these activities embedded in the AMP script inside an email, and we'll see if it works. I mean, it will work, of course, but then we'll see first way of working it. Okay, so first one is insert. Upsert means update plus insert. Upsert. Okay, update will only find out the existing ones and update it. Insert will only insert new records. Upsert does both the functions. If it doesn't find an existing record, it inserts it. If it finds it, it updates it. So that is the better way of doing it. Okay, so let's say go to insert. Insert, what I want to do is we'll go into that mode of the AMP, and we'll see the real life examples from there. So insert D. Okay, this is insert D. So let's straight away go to the example. The table you are aware of. This is the sample data extension, email address, subscriber key, one of the fields, first name, last name, and created date. That is a typical format of our example that we'll be forwarding today as well. So what I'm doing is, this is the code. Okay, so I'll just increase the size a bit. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so I'm declaring 2 variables, that's it. And I'm actually assigning values to them straight away. So to make it simple, I'm just assigning those values to these variables that I have declared on top, and I'm using an insert query. What I'm doing is insert into loyal members. This is the name of data extension. Okay, email addresses as this, and subscriber key as this. What it does, let me come back. Sorry. What it does, did you understood statement? So basically it's adding a line or a record in a data extension called loyalty members with email address as this value. In this case, it will be bob@limdash.com, and subscriber key value as 5767. So it will insert a record. Where is that? In that data extension. So for example, this is the one. Insert one record. That's it. Got it? Okay, and this is created date, by the way. So I'm presuming data extension, it is just by the time record is created, it automatically captures and creates it. So these are the 2 variables or 2 fields which are created in the new line. So that is insert. Insert a line into a data extension called loyalty members with these values. Got it? Simple.
So because if there are 2 primary keys in the D, like if I have like subscriber key and first name as the primary key, suppose it's just an out of the blue question, then what will happen? Because primary keys can't be nullable, right? So if we use this insert key, we have only inserted the email address and the subscriber key. So will the function only throw an error, or will yeah, please go.
So it will absolutely it will be an error. So nothing will happen. To be honest, in a real example, what will happen is, example, in a journey builder, one of the email needs to go for this email. This code is written one of the emails, for example, and then in that one of the operations is insert. Now, since there is a issue with the data structure, is you're supposed to send 2 values. 2 values are required, for example, if not primary key, and you're not sending it. You're sending only 1 value. That is what your question is. So nothing will happen. I mean, it won't throw an error that email won't go and all, but nothing will happen as a part of this. No action will be performed, to answer your question.
And just to reiterate it in another phase is, if there is already a subscriber key 5767, it will only just go, will it add a new record, or it will just update the email address?
Update.
So in this case, it will be inserting. So if you are using inserting and you are using, so primary, for example, a subscriber key is a primary key and you are inserting, for example, 8473, for example. That is what you're saying?
Yep, it's already the subscriber key is already there in the DE, and if
And it is a
in
primary
a
key, correct?
normal scenario, yes, a subscriber key is the primary key, right? So it cannot be
Correct.
it cannot be the same, right?
Correct.
If yeah,
So
so
same
what will
logic,
happen?
error. So
Yeah,
error.
okay,
Nothing will get inserted. That is what I'm trying to say. Email will go, okay. So whatever logic you have written will run. This particular logic won't run, okay. If you want to capture it, there's some other technical ways to capture the error in some data extension. You can capture it if you want, but email will go. This particular operation won't happen. Let's say this example in which you have coded email example in which you have coded an insert D wala statement. It's there in one of the journey builders. Okay, in the real world scenario ऐसा ही होगा ना. And once the email is about to be sent, it will evaluate all the things, and once it is sent, it will try and insert that. But since there is some data structure issues wherein subscriber key is the primary key and you are trying to insert the same value, it will throw an error. Email will go, but this insertion will fail.
okay.
Got it? Nothing will
Yes.
happen as far as this insert D is concerned.
So that's why you recommend the else statement, right? So if there is an issue like this, the default value will go, right?
Yeah, if that is the case, I mean, but I'm not sure how you do that in this case. If let's say subscriber key is primary key and you're trying to insert that, it'll throw an error. Actually, you have to catch that error and try and read that error and do something. I mean, which is a bit more technical in nature. So whatever error 500 or 404, whatever, not 404, but some kind of error number it will show. Based on that error number, you have to catch and do some action on it if you want to catch this error. So it's a bit more of coding required in that. Okay, next one is insert. Then we've got upsert. Let's go to upsert directly. Okay. Okay. So let's go to an example. Same data structure. That this table loyalty members remains the same. Now what we are trying to do is there is one change over here. If you see one a number is here, one. That's a difference in general. Okay. This function adds or updates. So it does both the things. Okay. And what is the second one? The number of column value pairs preceding the selecting argument. Actually, this is not very clear from this definition. So basically, I'll talk about this second wala, but first wala is data extension. Okay. This is the data extension anyways. And this is value of field and its, attribute name and its value. Name, value, name, value. That is what it is. This, I'll just quickly show you what it is because this is better explained in this developer.salesforce.org. Remember I told you about this thing? Remember?
Yep.
Yeah. This side is also good. So we were trying to say upsert D. Okay. So this is a numeric. Second is number of columns used to build where clause. Okay. So what is happening is upsert. First is data extension. Generally, not generally, it has to be a data extension name. Second is number. Let's say if I write it 2 over here, for example. So next two field and its comma values will be used to build a where clause. So it will read something like this. So I have example over here. So okay, upsert D. So what we'll do is, this is the name of data extension, send D 1. 1 denotes that next two fields, next two comma values, let's say subscriber key and its value subscriber key. So this is one pair basically, field and its value pair. This is one pair. Okay. This is used to build the where clause. When I say where clause, to extract the data. So if I go back to my, in this, so loyalty members, so this is name of data extension 1. 1 denotes that next, this one, this pair value, this value is used to build the where clause. So how it will read, select email address, equal to this from loyalty members. Okay. And add first name is this and updated is this. I think I read it the wrong way, but basically email address, you're extracting that value. So select email address equals this from loyalty members and add these, update these values. So first name is equal to this name, updated is equal to this name. So basically this is used to create the where or extract the data. on which data set I need to work, and then the next comma separated values are used to update it, and if it doesn't find it with this email address, it adds to it. समझा कि bouncer गया? Did you
Yeah, in case
understand?
of one, in case of one, can we use different number also, or just one is a function?
Yes.
Sort of.
No, so you can use any number over here, but this is used to denote कि जो next ये one है, ये
Mhm.
two है, like that. So read it like this. These are pairs, okay? Email address field का value ये है, first का value ये है. So read this is a pair. So if you write two over here, you can write. This means मुझे वो loyalty member से वो fields में insert कराओ जिसमें email address की value ये है. ये अगर यहाँ पे टू लिखा है, फर्स्ट नेम की वैल्यू ये है और ये अपडेट करो.
Okay.
समझे? सो बेसिकली वन सेइंग कि ये वैल्यूज पुल करो और ये वैल्यूज अपडेट करो या इंसर्ट करो अगर नहीं मिलता है तो.
Okay. और अगर 2 लूंगा तो क्या होगा? वो वाला
टू
वैल्यू
अगर
अपडेट
इफ यू
होगा.
मेंशन टू कर नहीं, सो अगर दो लिया, इफ यू हैव रिटन टू ओवर हियर, so email address this value and this value, these in fact both of these values will be utilized to pull the data in
Okay.
which this updated wala will get updated, this field value will get updated in that.
Okay.
और अगर इंसर्ट करना है तो नहीं मिला तो अगर इस क्वेरी से कुछ नहीं मिला तो इंसर्ट कर देगा वो अपडेटेड वैल्यू फील्ड कॉलम में इंसर्ट कर देगा. अंडरस्टूड?
Mhm.
because this is the थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लेक्स है, rest all are easier ones to follow. So this is a indication to say कि ये next one pair और second pair use करेंगे query बनाने के लिए. So let's say loyalty members में इसमें actually छुप गया. See, it's not so email address, इसमें email address क्या, let's email address Doug वाला use कर रहे हैं. Okay, let's say email address one है. So select from loyalty members where email address is equal to this Doug और उसमें first name और updated values update कर दो. So okay, let me go to that Doug. Okay, so now see, this was the earlier one. ठीक है, इसमें एक वैल्यू थी Doug की. ठीक है, अब अपसर्ट जब ऑपरेशन रन किया, आफ्टर दैट द सेम टेबल, थोड़ा सा मैं जूम आउट करता हूं so that you can compare. अभी if you can see that क्या हुआ है, Doug वाली रो में अपडेट हो गया है. सी इसका ये फर्स्ट नेम और अपडेट कर दिया उसने, अपडेटेड वैल्यू आ गई. फर्स्ट नेम यहाँ से क्या उठा दिया, डगलस. देखो डग का डगलस हो गया, यहाँ डग था, इट हैज अपडेटेड डगलस. रिमेंबर?
Yeah.
थोड़ा और जूम आउट करता हूँ, होपफुली यू कैन सी दैट. ओके, सो डग का डगलस कर दिया अपडेट, फर्स्ट नेम अपडेट कर दिया, अपडेटेड वाला कॉलम भी अपडेट कर दिया. क्वेरी किस पे बनाया, ईमेल एड्रेस पे, वेयर ईमेल एड्रेस इज डग, ये वाला. so, ये रो को पिक किया.
Okay.
ईमेल एड्रेस इज इक्वल टू डग, सो ये वाला रो पिक करके उसमें ये दो वैल्यूज को अपडेट मार दिया, फील्ड्स को, फर्स्ट नेम और अपडेटेड वाला
को रो लेगा और ये अपडेट करेगा.
तो ये जो वन नंबर ये डिनोट करता है पुल करने के लिए कौन सी वैल्यू रोज हमको पुल करनी है, और ये पुल करने के बाद हमको क्या कॉलम्स अपडेट करने हैं. दैट इज व्हाट वन डिनोट्स. अगर यहाँ पे ईमेल एड्रेस नहीं मिलता डग, फॉर एग्जांपल पंकज@gmail हो जाता, तो ये दो वैल्यूज वो इंसर्ट करता लास्ट में, नेक्स्ट, यानी 5 रोज बन जाती. गॉट इट? सन्नाटा छा गया.
Yeah, if this email address field will be not there, so then you're saying that it will insert the first name and updated section, right?
करेक्ट, एज अ न्यू रिकॉर्ड.
Okay.
तो इसीलिए
And
अपसर्ट,
okay,
अपडेट,
upsert.
इफ नॉट फाउंड इंसर्ट.
Then what will it filled in email address field? अच्छा,
ईमेल एड्रेस में तो फिल करना ही नहीं है ना,
okay,
ईमेल एड्रेस में तो फिल करना ही नहीं, ये तो केवल फेच करने के लिए है.
okay.
ईमेल एड्रेस ब्लैंक होगा, मतलब योर क्वेश्चन इज स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड, तो ईमेल एड्रेस केवल दो फील्ड भरेंगे यहाँ पे, क्या था, फर्स्ट नेम और अपडेटेड,
और email address blank
ब्लैंक रहेंगे.
Okay.
करेक्ट, बाकी सब ब्लैंक रहेगा. ऑफ कोर्स कंसीडरिंग अगर डेटा स्ट्रक्चर तुम्हारा अलाउ करता है तो दैट इज अ डिफरेंट इशू, बट फॉर दिस सिंपलिसिटी सेक यस, एवरीथिंग एल्स विल बी ब्लैंक. ये दो फील्ड अपडेट करेगा बस और इंसर्ट करेगा, सॉरी, अगर ये मिला नहीं तो. फर्स्ट फील्ड
Primary.
व्हिच केस ईमेल एड्रेस यू सेइंग, फॉर एग्जांपल ईमेल एड्रेस
Yeah,
प्राइमरी की है फॉर एग्जांपल,
Yeah.
तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी ना. अभी प्राइमरी की है तो डेटा चाहिए उसको, तो अब अगर
Okay.
अपडेट करने में डेटा नहीं मिलेगा उसको, तो वो इंसर्ट करने जाएगा ये दो वैल्यूज. अब इंसर्ट करने जाएगा तो डेटा स्ट्रक्चर उसको अलाउ नहीं करेगा क्योंकि प्राइमरी की चाहिए उसको.
Primary. Yeah.
तो फिर अगेन प्रीवियस एग्जांपल की तरह इशू है, इट्स नॉट अ
Okay.
राइट वे.
So there must be a primary key for.
Correct. So, I mean, while writing this query, the understanding or assumption is कि तुम्हें data structure का पूरा पता है,
Okay.
because so that you are inserting the required values. So
Okay.
that's how it should be. Okay. So this was about upsert, which was the most complex out of the all. अभी delete है और update है. Delete बताने की जरूरत है क्या? Delete D क्या करेगा? Loyalty members table में जाओ, look
Email address.
इस email address के लिए ये वैल्यू ईमेल एड्रेस कॉलम में ये वैल्यू ढूंढो और जो
Delete
मिले
कर।
उसको डिलीट कर दो. सिंपल. ईमेल एड्रेस कॉलम में ढूंढो ये वैल्यू, जो भी वैल्यू है pankaj@gmail.com, मिलता है तो डिलीट कर दो वो रो, नहीं मिलता है तो लीव इट लाइक दैट.
It will delete entire row.
यस, पूरा रो
Okay.
और रोज.
If I just wanted to delete a particular section and a particular field only.
फील्ड.
या जैसे अपन ने ऐड कराया फर्स्ट नेम, तो मुझे फर्स्ट नेम डिलीट करना है बस, या लास्ट नेम डिलीट करना है तो
ओके, तो इफ यू वांट टू डिलीट अ पर्टिकुलर फील्ड तो
हम्म,
इन तो वो वाला फंक्शन यूज कर लो, फॉर लूप लगा लो. सिंपल सा फॉर लूप लगा के
Okay.
वो डेटा, वो इससे डेटा सेट निकाल लो, रो सेट, और उस रो सेट को ट्रैवर्स करके उस कॉलम पे जाके डिलीट मार दो या इरेज कर दो या ब्लैंक कर दो, व्हाटएवर यू वांट. वो यूज करके ट्रैवर्स करके करना पड़ेगा.
Okay. So this will delete the entire row only. We can.
करेक्ट. जहां पे ईमेल एड्रेस ये मिलेगा वो पूरा रो डिलीट मार देगा. एंड सिमिलरली इंसर्ट. इंसर्ट एक बार देख लेते हैं. नहीं सॉरी, इंसर्ट देख चुके हैं, अपडेट देखना है. अपडेट डी. कम ऑन. अच्छा आ गया. ओके. सो अपडेट का भी कैसा फंडा है? सेम वही लॉजिक है. अपडेट करने के लिए तुम्हें पहले किस डेटा को करना है वो भी तो करना पड़ेगा ना. सो सेम वही लॉजिक इसमें भी. सो लेट मी जस्ट डबल चेक. वही लॉजिक. फंक्शन अपडेट द डेटा एक्सटेंशन. ठीक है, करेक्ट. तो नेम ऑफ द डेटा एक्सटेंशन फर्स्ट वाला तो है ये, नंबर ऑफ कॉलम वैल्यू प्रीसीडिंग सेलेक्टिंग आर्ग्यूमेंट्स. ठीक है. सो लेट्स कम बैक टू दैट. आई विल जूम इन अ बिट. अपडेट दिस डेटा एक्सटेंशन. वन शोज कि पुल क्या करना है. ये वैल्यू 1 है, अगर 2 होती यहाँ पे तो इट वुड हैव बीन लाइक दिस. सो गिव मी all the rows from the data extension loyalty members in which email address is equal to this email address. ठीक है. And then in those rows could be more than one. Update the first name as this one and updated it as this one. So yeah, so this was about the update operation, which is similar to upsert, wherein you are upsert is does two things. Insert is simply it will fetch the values from this data extension for this email ID address and then update these two values. Pretty similar to upsert. So these were the four major operations that you would be using in your day-to-day lives while traversing through the hills and troughs of values of data extension AMP script. Sorry. So okay, so this was the basic ones that I have covered to an extent that it will give you a good enough ground to actually cover your AMP script code going. In order to run, you need to do more hands-on, and if required, use this site for more functions. The next level of data set, next level of logic or function that you will be using is for calling external systems, accessing data from external systems. That is next level. And what you will use is you will use get, https get, and all those kind of functions, because that becomes too much advanced and technical. But to give you a sense, what we have done is what, like these http functions, these are the functions that will be used. Encryption and encoding functions. So these are some next level of functions that you would utilize in your day-to-day life once you get to that level of integration, which I don't think so you'll be doing it. Okay. So if you see, these are other functions. What we have done, some string functions we have done, date and time basic functions we have done. To give you an idea, we have done some data transformation activities, functions, not activities. Then from, or if we went to data extensions operations. These I think should cover the basic ground of you, to give you an overview of what all is in the beginning possible. And once you get onto that, there are next level of functions, totally next level. Something like if you want to do encryption and encoding, if you see over here on the left hand side, you want to call external functions with the help of FTTP. See, base 64 decoding, encoding, all those kind of things that you have heard of. It uses that. Then use HTTP functions to call external systems from Marketing Cloud. That you can do it again over here. But those requires XSS level of understanding and coding, if it is required at all, to be honest.